All right, so we're ready to get started. I appreciate you joining me. My name is Justin Shaw, and I'm the founder at Stone Fabricator Elite. We're a new business development and sales support agency that works exclusively with stone fabricators and suppliers. In today's webinar, I'm going to be sharing how our unique Sales SideKick program is helping stone fabricators to systematize and scale their businesses more easily. All right, so whether we see a full recession in 2023 is uncertain, but what's very likely is that we're going to see a continued slowdown in sales. And many shops are starting to hunker down to offset a decline in revenue, either that they're already feeling or that they're expecting to come in the near future. But for some, the mindset and approach will be to adopt an offensive position despite the market pressure. And if you share this mindset, then today's webinar will be of interest. So why are we hosting this webinar? Well, we've developed a unique program that stone companies across the country are using. And they use it to build a more efficient, systematized, and sustainable business. Now, our program opens for enrollment just once per quarter, so 4 times a year. This current enrollment period closes on the 27th, so in just a few days, and we do have 2 spots available. So we're looking to work with 2 stone companies where we can lend our support and make a significant impact. And we want to find the right shops to partner with, where it's a mutual fit and we know we can be successful when implementing our program, our strategies, and solutions. So today, I'm going to share with you how fabricators are using our Sales SideKick program to develop new revenue streams, improve the profitability of the existing ones, and gain more control of the front end of their business, while simultaneously reducing their workload through leveraging our strategies and systems and team of sales sidekicks. All right, now if you're interested, at the end of this webinar, you'll have an opportunity to apply to join the program. If it's not a fit, at the very least, you'll leave with a few solid tactics, some insights that you can apply to enhance your own efforts. All right, before I dive in, let me give you a quick 30-second introduction as to who I am and a little bit of our background. So again, I'm the founder at Stone Fabricator Elite, but before starting this company, I owned and operated a top 20 ranked digital marketing agency in New York City, and I ran that for 5 years. I personally have 20 plus years of experience in growth marketing, sales, business development, and strategic consulting. So I am a wee bit older than I look. Over the past few years, we made a strategic decision to specialize and only work with stone fabricators and suppliers. And our company's mission is to deliver industry-leading solutions. SFE, or Stone Fabricator Elite, is active in contributing to industry associations and events. We're an ISFA member, and I will be the host of their upcoming monthly sales clinic that's going to kick off in April, I believe. This here on the screen is a recent podcast that we recorded on how top fabricators are planning for turbulent times. We'll be talking a little bit more about that at TICE in the ISFA booth. But more specifically, I've been invited to speak on the Stone Expo stage at TICE and coach again in the ISFA booth about the topic of B2B sales and lead generation for fabricators. And I will touch upon that, share some of our tactics and strategies, but it'll be high level because I need to give you an overview of our whole program. But we will cover a little bit about that today. Okay, so what exactly is the Sales SideKick program and why did we create it? Let's start back at the beginning. We started working with Stone Pros back when this guy had won the election. Got to move myself out of the way here. And Zika was the virus that we were all worried about. You might forget, but at that time, and my wife was pregnant, we were pretty worried about Zika. Luckily, that's a distant memory, but now we got new stuff to worry about. So back then in 2016, our clients were asking us to help them usually to generate more leads or rank higher in Google, and we did get pretty good at it. But over time, we started to understand the actual constraints limiting our clients and their growth and profitability. And that a lack of sales leads was not really the actual problem. And in fact, more often than not, the leads that we would generate and deliver to our clients would not be followed up with at a high rate or converted into sales in a really meaningful way. So money was being wasted and our efforts weren't being capitalized on. So when we made the decision to work exclusively with Stone Pros, we knew we needed to step up our game. We needed to offer true value, solve real problems, and make our clients' lives a little easier along the way. So we asked our clients at that time, what are the things that are keeping you up at night? We held a group session, multiple sessions, I should say. where they were able to commiserate with us and each other and really just lay it down for us. With primarily a focus on the front end. There's a lot of other things that happen in the shop, etc. Supply chain issues at the time. But what was it on the front end that was really, persistent challenges that we might be able to help with? So we listened, we made a list, and it was long, it was extensive. And after we were done, we went through and we crossed off the things on the list that really weren't in our wheelhouse. And here are the things that remained on that list. And they all really tied back to one core thing, which is a lack of effective front-end strategies and systems. And, what the byproduct of that, of those things is things like a leaky sales pipeline, where you're leaving easy money on the table and you're unsure of how to fix it. Or if you do know how to fix it, you just don't have the bandwidth. Your team doesn't have the bandwidth to address it properly and quickly. It might take too long. And then there's generally limited oversight of the sales team. And, the bigger shops you got sales director, a roster of sales reps, and there is oversight. But it's, tends to be limited if those front end systems aren't in place because that data is not there. So, and then there's often, limited, again, formal training. And again, that's not always the case, but we were seeing the common thread. So a lack of formal training provided, there's like a 1 week onboarding, and then sales reps or 2 weeks, left to their own devices, expected to know what to do and to perform at a high level. And that creates a bit of friction, right? So, that was an issue. And again, limited development to enhance their skill sets to help them, increase their skills and capabilities and reinvest back into them as a team member and support retention. So that was a challenge that we flagged. And then owners, operators, directors of stone companies are stretched thin. There's a lot of oversight. Every department's juggling a lot to operate at a high level, wearing too many hats, and unable to consistently develop new business opportunities or revenue streams. And then, one of the big things is a lack of visibility on what's working, what's not working, and what to do about it, and really wanting clear data to drive business decisions. All right, so what we decided to do was a bit of a crazy idea. We decided to commit for a 1 year period. So for 12 months, we were going to be all in. We had that list, and we would devote company resources and energy to figure out ways of solving these issues. It was a long year. It wasn't easy. I know that I personally and some of my team members have a few more gray hairs than when we started, but we did have awesome and willing clients that were game to let us test things, to endure a little trial and error, to go through, that learning curve and to get on the other side of it with us. And we were able to develop meaningful and effective solutions by doing that, by spending that time in the trenches, rolling up our sleeves and figuring it out. And then over time, things have evolved, but we rolled everything into a single flagship offer. And that is our Sales SideKick program, which represents the systems, the strategies, and solutions that we've developed that now have a multi-year proven track record. Don't know where to put my camera here. Bear with me. Okay, so there are 3 pillars to our Sales SideKick program. If you jump on our website at Stone Fabricator Elite, you'll see a full breakdown on the pricing page of everything that's included in our program. But for the purpose of this webinar, to try and keep it concise, there are 3 primary pillars of our Sales SideKick program. Number 1, it's a proper CRM system. And not to knock the industry-specific solutions that are there. They're very good at what they do. But when we started working with our clients to solve this problem, they identified that, we had clients using MoreAware, Stone Profits, Eased Edged, down the line, everything Builder Trend. Now, a lot of our clients are looking at Action Flow, Quote Countertop. Again, all great platforms, different pros and cons of all of them, but very limited capabilities in terms of a true CRM that's robust and dynamic enough to drive sales and marketing at the level that our clients wanted. So we developed a blueprint powered by HubSpot. Our clients evaluated the options that we gave them against what they wanted to solve. They selected HubSpot, and so that's what we use. And we built essentially the system to optimize pipeline efficiency and profitability. And then number two, the second pillar is systems are great, but they're only as good as the people using them. Again, not a knock on the people, but sales reps are often juggling a million things as well. They might have to do the takeoffs and estimates, whether that's in full or supporting when there's a bottleneck, with the estimating department, for example, to knock things out. They may be going to the showroom to pull out, certain materials or end up rummaging through remnants, to help a retail customer. So, there's a limited sales support, coaching and development that happens consistently, plus pipeline oversight. So that was the second thing we knew we needed to tackle, and that's the second pillar of our program. We'll get into detail of exactly how we do that on a consistent basis. And then number three is new business development, to diversify your revenue streams and increase sales. But before we get in a little deeper into each of those pillars, I'd like to share a high-level overview of the way that we approach front-end sales, marketing, and systems. So let me just move my camera up here. If you play golf, or even if you don't, I don't personally, but you'll get the sort of comparison here. So the traditional approach very often is to prioritize time, energy, money, resources to attracting and converting prospects that are furthest from the cup or the conversion hole. And those are complete strangers. That's cold traffic. And, so the idea of optimization over utilization, we're trying to get our ads to perform better, to lower a cost per click, to be able to get more leads with our budget? Or can we change something on our website so that it ranks a little higher or converts customers a little bit more easily? And those are all good things. But with a lack of systems and strong follow-up, it's sort of like, you're trying to take it from here all the way to here. It's like trying to drive the ball 200 yards and get a hole in one when you don't have strong systems and SOPs in place to support moving your opportunities through your pipeline at a high level. So, how do we look at things, and what's the approach that we take? Well, we prioritize nurturing prospects in your pipeline at a significantly higher rate than your competitors. So you have to think about, like, when you have somebody in your pipeline that's requested a quote or a bid, either on the retail or design build pro side of things, they're in consideration. They're comparing you to your competitor, essentially, more often than not. And you want to have a higher volume of valuable touches, of valuable sales activities and touches to nurture those deals and opportunities at a high level. Very often the thought is, okay, we've got the quote out, focus on what's right in front of us. We have another one. Let's chase that. And it starts to build up. Saw somebody for a showroom appointment, send them a quick thank you. Again, fire out the quote or, material selection, for example, or photos. And then really just bat the ball back and forth a little bit on email and responding to questions that your prospect has, but no true, nurturing to really reinforce your competitive advantage, your positioning, and why they should choose you. And then this is an area that's often, there's very, very little follow-up. Somebody doesn't show up for an appointment or was unresponsive, to a quote that you sent. It kind of, dies on the vine. And the way that we view things is those are closest to the cup, closest to the hole. It's just a matter of what's the right mechanism and the frequency of touches required to move that person further down the stages of your pipeline. And when you do this right, when you set something like this up where you're optimizing, those stages of your pipeline for the prospects that you've already earned, you create a flywheel. You then have increased pipeline profitability, you're capturing more revenue, and then you're able to reinvest a larger percentage of those profits back into your advertising. And you're able to then pay that little bit of a premium, for that complete stranger, that cold traffic, you can afford to pay, that premium of, if it's a Google ad, let's say, for a request a quote or showroom appointment, you might be paying $35 to $150 per lead, right? And so you then have the luxury of playing in that arena because you've reinvested your profits back into your marketing machine. All right, so this approach is the reason why, with our 3 pillars, they're in the order that they are. New business development and lead generation is actually third on our list. You want to have those things in place first before you start spending the money, time, and energy to generate new leads, new opportunities, in new channels too. So, all right, let's get into pillar number 1. So, a proper CRM system built to optimize pipeline efficiency and profitability. And when you get this in place, you can stop leaving money on the table. You gain more freedom as an owner, operator, director. And you're able to actually deliver better customer service and experience as well. We won't cover too much of that here, but there are some ways, in our system that we're supporting our clients where you're nurturing both your prospects and your customers at a high level. And when they're comparing you one-to-one to your competitors, it is night and day in terms of the high level of engagement that you're providing and personalization and care. Okay, what I've got up on the screen here, not to overwhelm you, is we've built what we call our ultimate CRM blueprint. We co-created this with our clients 3 years ago. We do use HubSpot to power our blueprint, but essentially much like the plans to build out a house or knock out a renovation, we've got a blueprint that we follow. And we've built it after spending a lot of time evaluating what are the different constraints, bottlenecks, points of friction. Where can we leverage automation, to enhance what we're doing? And essentially, how can we have the system do a lot of the heavy lifting for you? How can we have it accelerate deal velocity, which is a term that means when a lead or prospect enters your pipeline, how fast will it move from the start to the finish, either to closed won or to closed lost, to have that deal velocity be optimized. And then the second part of that, because I won't go down in the weeds, this is just to show you, we've really solved for a lot, but equally important to that, these small 2 screenshots I've got up on the screen here, just to speak about the fact that we knew that it needed to be easy to use. Our clients, when we co-created this with them, were letting us know, hey, we've got sales reps in their 60s. They, in some cases, one had been in with them for 20 years, and she had her way of doing things. And in order to get her on board, this is going to have to be easy to use. There was others that were mid-60s and needed something that was really easy to use, because otherwise the adoption just wouldn't be there. There'd be too much pushback. Like, this really has to be simple. So what you can see here is just a very easy to use interface. It's one of the reasons our clients chose HubSpot. Ease of use, intuitive. And then we built the system to prompt users, sales reps or anybody that's responsible for utilizing the system, to prompt them with the key pieces of information or the things that need to be triggered at the various stages of the customer journey and sales pipeline, so that the system can take over and do what it needs to do in the background. All right, that leads me to pillar number 2. That's providing and backstopping the system and your team with real support. And we do that in the form of our dedicated sales sidekicks. Some of the benefits in that you gain when we do this for you is you gain visibility, true visibility of your sales and business intelligence. And we take it a step further in that, yes, the CRM has tons of data in there. We have KPI dashboards that you can go through and look at and comb through the data depending on, how little or how much you want to look at. But shop owners, operators, directors are all, again, super busy. So we analyze that data and we put it into snapshots, really quick, actionable insights. And I'll speak more about that in a moment. And when we're supporting your pipeline and your team, you're able to maintain pipeline health, improve your sales reps' performance, which is good for you, your bottom line, but also good for them, right? They want to be successful in what they're doing, regardless if they're in a commission-based model. If they are, they're incentivized, to perform at a high level. They're seeing the benefit of that. If they're not compensated in that way, they still, take pride in their work. They're able to have something that enhances their ability to deliver, and that's good. And then this can actually be used, what we provide, to attract, develop, and retain employees at a higher rate. This is truly a unique program that you're not going to find at your competitor, that's for sure. We only work with one fabricator per region. But also in overlapping industries. So, at a tile company or a restoration company, or basically a sales rep is looking for a position, in an industry that they have some experience in and their capabilities. When they're comparing, how am I going to be set up for success? What's going to be there to support me in my career or in my position? You're able to demonstrate that you've made a significant investment in providing the right tools and resources for your team. So there are many ways in which we do this, but two of the core things and the big levers are we perform weekly pipeline audits. So our team of sales sidekicks are living in your pipeline. They're going through, helping to quarterback things at the deal level, leaving strategic notes or just little nudges and prompts to keep things on your radar, keep things from falling through the cracks, to provide a little bit of that accountability, for example. And then we backstop that with a live weekly group sales call with sales reps, so that we break that into three components. One where sales reps or anybody in sales seat responsible for handling opportunities are reconciling their own pipeline, because no two pipelines are the same. Where attention and energy should be placed, there's a lot of nuance in that. So we lead people through that. We're very hands-on. The second part is having people queue up their week, or at least today and the next day, with their highest priority, highest value sales activities. Make sure those are on deck. And then the third and final part of our sales sprint is a call sprint. And, it's often the case where just email is easy, and we sort of fall into that habit and pattern of just firing out an email and see if somebody's got the quote, if they're ready, did they get all the, assets that you need to take things to the next stage, like the plans, the drawings to produce the quote. It goes on and on. And you end up playing that ping pong match and, not the resistance to just picking up the phone, collapsing the buyer journey, really speeding things up by just getting on the phone and speaking to the person. So 20 minutes may not sound like a long time, but that we host it on a weekly basis. We encourage our clients through the SOPs that we provide, that they have time blocking and sprints throughout the week. But if at the very least, if all else goes out the window, it's anchored by our weekly sales sprint. We can ensure that the highest priority deals are being met with the highest value activities on a consistent basis. It also helps to build that habit for your reps. They start to, sales reps start to see those quick wins, and then it sets them up for success and builds that confidence, and momentum through the rest of the week when they're on their own. Okay, so we talked about, that this actually does help enhance and, the attraction of talent, the retention of talent. We've taken it one step further. In addition to our systems that we've built and the hands-on support, we've built out what we call our SFE Academy, so Stone Fabricator Elite Academy, which provides you and your team with hands-free onboarding. It's turnkey. You have a new team member, or when we onboard a new member of our program, you're invited to the academy. It takes you through the sequence so that you easily onboard through a series of simple and easy videos to get up to speed on how to use the systems, what the expectations are, best practices, and then also included in that are, for example, this one, sales trainings that we've done in the past, coaching calls, things of that nature are archived there so that employees can access them. We drip things out and they can, enhance their development. And everything that we do is highly specialized to the stone industry. There's unique things after 6 years of working in the industry that we've learned, small tactics that have a big impact, the subtle shift in certain things, whether that's in how to get a response on an email when you've been ghosted and you've got a quote out and it was, a 5-figure or 6-figure quote and this person's just disappeared. What's the tactic that you can deploy to reactivate this and move this forward? What are some effective and simple call frameworks so that you don't feel like you're bothering a trade pro or a contractor? How do you call them and add value, in their day? So really valuable things that we put together in our academy. All right. Want to be sensitive to the time. We're getting to the tail end of this. The last thing, the third pillar, is our new business development B2B program and dynamic retail strategies that we provide, dynamic retail strategies we provide on the B2C side of things. So when you're leveraging our program, you're able to outsource your front-end business development. We do the heavy lifting for you. You're able to then diversify revenue streams. So if you're really concentrated on one area and you want to penetrate a new market, you can lean on us to do that, not stretch yourself too thin, and know that we're going to be able to tackle that with proven models, proven strategies on a consistent basis on your behalf. And that's going to equal increased sales volume. And then, of course, with the way we approach things, we look to increase your win rate and return on your current advertising investment or efforts, what you're already doing to earn those opportunities. All right, so let's run through this really quick. What do we do in the cases where our program members work direct with retail? Now let's look again at that diagram where we've got the golf course here. Now I can't take credit for this. This was instilled in me by a mentor of mine, which was just a shift in how we approached what we do, handed down to me, and it's very much in the DNA of what we do. So we'll first look to improve win rate and profitability in these stages, these milestones. So somebody has requested a quote, booked a showroom appointment, no show. Our activities are first primarily going to be focused within the pipeline before looking outside of it. And again, we're looking to create that flywheel effect where you can reinvest or find the money to expand and do advertising in a new channel from the profitability generated at an increased rate. Okay, so quick question for you, drop in the chat. I'm just curious here, how many sales touches does a prospect receive when they request a quote at your shop? Just drop in the number, if it's 2, 3, just drop it in there. Typically, it's very few nurturing touches. Okay, I don't see many people dropping stuff in here out of all of you that are in. But what I will say is, take a moment if you need to, put it in there, is that usually the follow-up that's done is things like just asking questions. You're just chasing people down. Did you have any questions about the quote? Did you see the quote? Those are the types of follow-up. It's really not providing extra value or to enhance things. And what you want to do is concentrate on a higher volume of quality touches that's in your prospect's best interest when they're evaluating you, when they're considering and comparing you against your competitor. And so just a quick example of this. Again, sorry guys, I gotta move myself all over the place here so that you can see what's up on the screen, I think. Just an example is we often will leverage low-cost, hyper-targeted direct mail to nurture prospects already in your pipeline. Now, we can also deploy it to dominate local markets. We've got a whole webinar on YouTube that you can watch about that. You can go on YouTube, search for Stone Fabricator Elite, and you'll find we've got a complete training on winning new retail customers using low-cost, hyper-targeted direct mail. So if that's of interest, just do that quick search and you'll find that. But for the purpose of this conversation, let's just focus on that whole model of improving profitability in the pipeline. So imagine that you've got somebody that's requested a quote from you. 3-4 days later, in the mail, they get a nice 6x9 postcard with a beautiful finished project, a testimonial from a client or a past customer, and then something else to compel them or offer more assistance in an easier way to make their decision easier. So that can be, something to sweeten the deal, or sweeten, choosing you, or, providing some urgency or scarcity. There's different ways about that, and we obviously help our clients with that. Or it can be just accessibility, just we appreciate you considering us. Here's a quick before and after, for example, and testimonial. All of that would be baked into the mailer. And then on the back, just, the sales rep's mobile number often can be used or something like that. There's just accessibility. Did you have a question? Something you're concerned about? Even that is alone, just showing a higher level of attention, care, and separates you from your competitors. So, of course, there's Google ads, social media ads, etc. But direct mail is often overlooked because it's usually used incorrectly, and as a result, it's expensive and ineffective. It's a shotgun approach versus a sniper. Maybe a bad analogy there, but it's true. It's a spray and pray method. Let's just pick a number of zip codes. What are the income levels of these households and who's bought a home in the last year? And let's just drop mail to everybody. If you have the budget to do so, that's not necessarily to say that's ineffective entirely. If you have the budget to do that on top of everything else that's already optimized, then you can do something like that, but there's better ways to enhance it. Okay, before I go down the rabbit hole, and I tend to do that sometimes. So direct mails, for nurturing your prospects that are in your pipeline already, physical mail trumps digital or social retargeting ads. So just think about the difference between getting that nice 6x9 with a beautiful before and after and some social proof with a testimonial versus being followed around on Facebook, Instagram, or Google and just seeing, your shop's ad, which some people actually get turned off by, right? So there's a difference there. And it depends on the stage. So even a simple thank you note, puts you closer to the cup, puts you closer onto the green to just put that in. So for example, you can automate a handwritten note, and that's in quotes because what's on the screen here is an example of automating inside of your CRM, handwritten, but it's actually written by a robot that's got the pen. And people can tell it's not written by a person, but it is, if you're going to do this at scale and get it out the door immediately, not have somebody run to the post office or a mailbox and drop it in there. This is how you do it quickly, automated, and at scale. So the example I have up on the screen here is, you've got somebody that's come in, spent the time, the energy to come into your showroom. It's just a quick thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you last week. Thanks for visiting. I look forward to assisting you with your project. Got anything else? Please don't hesitate to reach me, your number. And that's just an extra level of care that reinforces, hey, my project's going to be in good hands. It's things like this when we advocate that our clients never compete on price. We want we want premium pricing position for our clients. It's things like this that enhance, the overall experience that you're delivering, implied trust, both on the B2B and both on the retail and B2B side of things. Okay, so with saying that, let's shift the conversation to B2B. Where relevant, we always recommend a blended approach of B2B and B2C. You want to be diversified. And I say where relevant because there are shops that only work direct to retail. And on the flip side of that, only work with commercial developers and builders that do multifamily homes. Like that's all they do. And we've got clients in that position and utilizing our program. But where relevant, we always recommend that blended approach. Diversify revenue streams, and you're going to be able to significantly increase sales volume, and you don't have all your eggs in one basket, especially as we head into economic turbulence and market pressure. So one thing that's interesting as we speak to shops is that they're saying that with the decline in new home starts and a drop in project remodeling projects, that they're going to focus on increasing their retail sales. Like that's where they're prioritizing things, and that they'll wait to work on developing B2B sales. Trouble with that approach is developing new relationships with design build pros and contractors takes a long time, and to get your first project, takes an even longer time frame, and even further out before that money actually hits the bank. So you really want to plant those seeds now. You want to prioritize that because there isn't necessarily, a general contractor or millwork company just sitting there going, who are we going to send this bid to? Who's going to work on this project? They've got relationships with, their current fabricators, and in order to, break in there and develop a meaningful and profitable relationship, there's a bit of a ramp up time to that. So the other thing to consider is the overall volume of both retail and builder, such contractor jobs, is just it's gonna dry up, for this year. There's gonna be a smaller overall piece of the pie to go around than the boom of the past 2 years. So the name of the game is to invest in developing in these relationships immediately. And if you already operate in the B2B space, you don't want to, be a one-legged stool with, 60% of your business held by one contractor. You've got to diversify that as well. So expanding or building from scratch your B2B revenue streams is one of the best ways to ensure your shop will be more resilient this year. Okay, so how do we support our program members with B2B new business development? So we act as a fractional extension of your team. Our sales sidekicks perform outreach and engagement on your behalf with your ideal prospects, and then we hand those opportunities off to your sales team. What that looks like is, if you think about the 4x100 meter relay race in the Olympics, we try to do the first 200 meters, the heavy lifting, knocking on doors, the staying consistent, keeping on people's radar, and then we hand it off to you to take it across the finish line. So let's take a look at what some of those engagements look like. And we use email. We don't call people. That we advocate, yes, that is the highest value activity that we want sales reps to do. But if we were to do that, we'd immediately be exposed as being, limited in the information, not being able to serve people at a high level, ill-equipped to answer certain questions, because there's so much variation from one of our members to another, and pricing and material selection can't be done. So we use email, and when you use it well, and when I say well, that means use that channel combined with a truly competitive, unique and compelling competitive advantage, you're able to position your shop in a way that's meaningful, that you're presenting yourself as a value-added partner, and you're able to get results like this. The challenging part is doing it consistently, and that's where we come in. So just a quick example here, we're operating on behalf of one of our clients looking to expand upon their multifamily projects. This person's responded, we've got a nice job coming up, 281 units. We'll have drawings soon. And then obviously we progress that from there. This person, Design Build Pro, I believe, thanking us for sending an example of a beautiful installation that went in. We were asking if they'd be interested in coming by the facility, seeing our capabilities, discussing how we can be a value add. And they're saying, yeah, we should plan for some time in August. It'd be great to see the facility and slab selections. Another example here of multifamily and commercial. After some engagement, in a internal email chain that's happening, this person got in touch saying, hey, we've got 286 units in Rogers, 55 units as well. We're going to have architectural drawings in coming days. So this is, really shortening the traditional approach of what happens when you try and get in front of somebody to move them from whoever they're currently working with to consideration of something new, because there's always a risk, an inherent risk with moving towards unknown, right? So there's unproven, unknown, versus their current provider, current vendor, which, may be not 100% of the relationship that they're looking for. Some things promises are being underdelivered on, or timing, for example, but it's the devil they know, right? So in order to overcome that, and we have a different full-on training on this on the same YouTube channel, end-to-end, how we achieve this, that you can dig into. When you put a truly compelling competitive advantage and you're offering tangible solutions in the B2B landscape, you will get a solid return on those efforts. There's another one, I think a Design Build Pro here got our outreach and then tried to call saying that I've got a project to explore with you. And another one here where they're saying, hey, thanks for your kind words about the work that we do. Love to see how we can connect to work together. So all in all, benchmarks that we set, our best performance yet in 2022 over previous years was generating 12.5 million in B2B project revenue for our clients through our Sales SideKick program. And I should note, results from program member to program member vary. It depends on market size, depends on your pricing model, type of projects you're going after, and your company's competitive advantage. So to recap, as a member of our Sales SideKick program, when we work together, we'll help you build, we will build completely turnkey for you your CRM system, onboard you and your team, systematize your front-end sales. We'll support your sales pipeline and your team members at a high level through our weekly audits, sales sprints, coaching and development. And we've got your back. We provide outsourced new business development and lead generation. And then the big one here, conversion optimization. Remember, we really focus on that first before going after cold, complete strangers. Okay, so thank you so much. That covers the core of our program. What does the program cost? Well, we have two tiers. We've got an essential and elite. All that information is available on our website, stonefabricatorelite.com. Primarily, most popular is the essential. There's a full breakdown of everything that's included on our website. These are the two pricing options available, and you can review everything. I covered the three pillars, but there's a fair amount that we do include. You can review that at your convenience on our site. But what I will say is when our program members make this investment, they find that's a fraction of the cost of a even part-time sales manager, another additional outside sales rep, or a marketing company. And they get a return on investment from the improvement in pipeline profitability alone. So when you add in the new business development and the impact and value we provide there, it's a sound investment. Last note I'll make is there will be an increase after our winter enrollment in pricing. The reason for that is, our program does evolve. We find new solutions and then we roll it out to all program members. And we've, over 2022, expanded our offering, expanded our solutions, and so the pricing will increase after the winter enrollment. The next enrollment will be in April. So it's seasonal, winter, spring, summer, and fall. We do have 2 spots currently remaining. Enrollment does close in a couple of days on the 27th. If you're interested in becoming a member, I'll drop a link in the chat to our application. That would be the next step. So you can view on the website, the full pricing breakdown. You get the application. And the reason we require an application is there is a criteria for us to see if we're a good fit to partner with you, if our strategies, systems, and solutions are in fact a match, and that we're going to have a significant impact, that we know that these will be effective for you specifically. And so that's why you'll go through an application. The thing to note is when you get into the application, we know you're busy. If you're not able to complete it all in one go, just when you have it up, if you close it out, as long as you're using the same device and browser, you can log back in and pick up from where you left off. Just note that, again, we do close it out in just a few days. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time. We'll open it up for Q&A. And again, I really appreciate it.